You gotta give me one thing. I'm a scary judge of talent.
Adolphus Washington back-to-back plays.
The Detroit Pistons select Luke Kennard from Duke University.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Triple Double Podcast. I'm Corey Albertson of Triple Double Prospects. We've got Jason Morrow of 270 Hoops as our producer, and our guest today is Coach Clint Adkins. Coach, what's going on?
Nothing much, man. Just, looking forward to the end of the school year, already getting to June and kind of get into what we refer to as phase two for the summer for our basketball program. So it's, our guys have been back at it. Had to wait about 28, 29 days after our Sweet 16 loss. And then, we've been back in the gym and the weight room and guys are working their tails off. So proud of them for sure.
I'm excited to hear about the phase two. That's one of the things we want to talk about today is the off-season development and some of the things you guys do at East. But first, let me give everybody the rundown real quick. Coach Clint Adkins, been the head coach at Lakota East in northern suburbs of Cincinnati, Liberty Township, Ohio, since 2014, but been with the Thunderhawks much longer than that as an assistant before moving over to the top chair. And you guys have been one of the top programs in greater Cincinnati, not just in terms of victories, but also in terms of sending guys off to college. And you guys got to be proud of what you built up there, Coach.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Coach Vickers, the man I worked for, did a good job of, building a culture of toughness and, hard work. And, when Wally retired, I was lucky enough and fortunate enough to get the job. And, obviously we've had some really good players, talented kids who have bought into working hard. I got a great coaching staff, great administration at Lakota East High School. And, as you know, in order to run a really good program, it takes a village. And I'm surrounded by a lot of really good people. And, because of that, we've been successful.
Well, that goes to speak to how far back we go. And I know you from when you were just a lowly young assistant and I was a manager, and you guys used to come to team camp with Coach Vickers.
Yeah. Those are definitely some good times. And, I learned a lot from Coach V in terms of how to run a program. And, I enjoyed my time as an assistant coach and enjoyed my time as a JV coach and enjoyed my time as a sophomore coach. They used to have the sophomore league back in the GMC days. So it used to be sophomore JV varsity, and the freshmen would play by themselves. So I don't know if you remember the sophomore teams, but that kind of got phased out with some budget cuts and things like that. So, worked under a guy who really knows the game and knows how to build programs and has been successful everywhere he's been. So very fortunate enough to learn from him, and got a chance to play some horse against you back in the day, back in the Shoemaker Center.
Absolutely, the real days of team camp on the 7-court Shoemaker Center. And,
oh yeah.
Before we hop into talking about this the off-season development, another guy that I know listens to the podcast that we want to give a shout out to, that's a big Clint Adkins guy, would be the legendary Ohio Valley Hoops Classic operator Benny Carroll.
Yeah, Benny's my guy. I've obviously played basketball for Benny Carroll back in the late 90s at Wilmington High School, and Benny's a tremendous guy, good coach, and he's a guy who's just passionate and loves the game, and absolutely love Coach Carroll. He's a great guy.
We're going to have him on the podcast as we get closer. We got some time as the next season approaches, though. He's got some big plans for his event, and new venue's going to be coming out. And I know you guys are going to be in there, and it's going to be it's a good event already, but it's really going to blow up, I think, as people hear about this new venue and some of the matchups in that venue.
I agree. I think him moving it to Mason High School is a great idea. Not that, taking anything away from Hillsborough or the venue where it was at. It's just really far away from where a lot of these teams were coming from. So I think just in terms of population, I think Mason is smack dab in the middle of a lot of different areas, so you can attract a lot of really good teams. And Coach calls me up every year and says, "Hey, Clint, who do you want to play?" And I said, "I don't care, Coach. Just give us somebody really good." And that's, at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is play as many good teams as possible to get us ready for the tournament. And, what that means, maybe taking some early L's, it happens. We at no point in time want to play a schedule that gives us a false sense of where we're at. We want to play the best, and we'll play the best anytime.
I know this year you played Moeller in neutral court. You played at Mentor, which is 4 hours away, if not more, in a bus. You played one or both of the Dublin schools. You played in Benny's event. So you guys really got around this past year, and you had a really good team and, right there in the mix in the Sweet 16 and, almost even went further.
Yeah. And I think part of that is obviously playing a tough league schedule. The GMC is just a grind every single year. And then on top of that, like I said, the point of our non-conference schedule is to get us ready for tournament time. So when we go to the tournament, at no point in time can our kids say, "Hey, we haven't seen this type of team or this type of team or this type of athlete or this type of player." We've played about as good a competition as we can play. And, playing obviously Moeller and Mentor and Dublin Kaufman, Dublin Jerome, those are some really, really good, strong teams and, got us ready for the tournament. And, obviously we fell short against Moeller, but we felt like we played them as well as anybody did all year. And we had some opportunities in that game to make it close. We just, in the second time we played them, we just shot it poorly. And, to give them credit, obviously they're a reason why we did shoot it so poorly. They're a little bit different in terms of their length and athleticism. But I was really proud of the group we had, and it was a tremendous group, man. Fought a lot of adversity. We had a couple major injuries in the year, and the way our guys responded was remarkable.
And that's what I wanted to talk about, real quick before we get into development. But even looking at the development from what I'm sure you saw last summer when your kids who were juniors going into this year being their senior year, how much better they got. Everybody talks about the kid Bash Whelan, the unbelievable senior season he had, from being a really good role guy to being, the best guy in your league by a mile, probably the best or second best, senior in Cincinnati this year. And, all that's kind of done by your guys' development. But what you guys have had at East is you've had, some seniors each year, much like a Moeller or a Mason, and guys move on, and you guys just kind of have a next man up where there's some kids who maybe, we didn't know were as good of players as they were as juniors, and they wait their turn. And then as a senior, they really show you some basketball ability and show you some intangibles and really step up for you.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the success of the program is our younger guys getting to see our older guys work. And sometimes guys get an opportunity to play a little bit younger. And a guy like, for example, Grant Spicer this past year, who Grant Spicer ended up being a second team all league guy. In my opinion, should have been a first team all league guy. But if you look at Grant's stats, they weren't eye popping. But, obviously Bash was our best player, but Grant was probably our most important player. He was a guy who was just so intelligent, defensively, offensively. He did whatever it took to make us better, and, in no way cared about his stats, and he just had an unbelievable senior year. Will Johnston, a guy who played 10 minutes a game as a junior, comes in, has a great senior year for us. Bash Whelan goes, from a guy who, when he came to us and transferred in, he's primarily a catch and shoot kid, but really developed his game and, had the ability to post you up, had the ability to shoot it off the bounce, shoot the three. He just worked on his game so much. And just to see those guys progress each and every year it's a pretty special thing. And seeing them progress as basketball players is awesome, but seeing them progress as young men is equally as important.
And I think we'll harp on Bash a lot in this podcast because, I happen to know the kid. I haven't coached him a little bit in AAU. And I think if one thing I noticed about him, and it's probably something that you notice with a lot of your kids, is his junior year, he was a good basketball player with average, maybe even marginal confidence level. And his senior year, just watching him play, the way he moved up and down the court, he just had a level of confidence to him that he didn't have as a junior, and that was maybe the biggest thing. He was already a good player, but that was maybe the biggest thing that pushed him over the edge to me.
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head there. His junior year, going into his junior year that summer when he transferred into us, he weighed 160 pounds. Going into this past summer, he was 200 pounds. So he's a kid that bought into the weight room. I mean, he gained 40 pounds in a year. And, between that and the amount of time that he put in the gym working on his skill and working on his craft, I think that's where he gained his confidence. And, I'm a believer that coaches can kill a kid's confidence, but you can only do so much to give kids confidence. I think to me, confidence is something that is built in the gymnasium with sweat equity. And, Bash he killed it this off season. And, like you said, went from, being a good player as a junior to being a great player and one of the best players in the city. And obviously his confidence level was through the roof. And each game he went out there and knew he was the best player on the floor. And there's something to be said for that.
Well, with these kids in the summer, and you certainly have had plenty of kids like Bash over the year, and you've always seemed to have one or more seniors who really take that big step. I mean, there's no secret, there's no magic that can, just make them so much better. I mean, but what are you guys doing in the summer? What do you do with your guys from the, there's a mantra in coaching that says, basketball players are made in the off season. So what are you guys doing in the off season where you're seeing these kids have these transgressions?
And basically what we do is we split up the year into 4 phases. Phase 1 is spring, phase 2 summer, phase 3 fall, and then phase 4 is the season. And, currently in phase 1, we lift 4 times a week. We play open gym 3 times a week. 2 to 3 times a week, our guys are getting 4-man skill workouts in. And then in the way we play, sometimes we play 3-on-3, sometimes we play 5-on-5, some's half court, some's full court. But they're getting a mixture of everything. So they're getting weight training, they're getting speed and agility training. We have partnered with Beacon Ortho a couple of years ago, and they have a trainer who works with our guys with their speed and agility training. So between lifting and getting that, if they'll eat right and buy into eating, their bodies are going to change. And I think if you look at most of our guys, you can tell they're guys that hit the weight room hard. They bought into that culture of being in the weight room. And then in terms of skill development, 2 to 3 times a week with their 4-man workouts, playing open gym 3 times a week. And, and on top of that, our best players are playing club basketball as well. So, we're in the gym anywhere from, 5 to 6 times a week, even in the off season. And, I think that helps separate us from a lot of teams who may have equal talent. But the time that our guys invest into this, they typically don't give in very easily when things get tough because of the amount of time they've put into it.
So then coming up soon, school's going to end for you guys. You as a teacher are going to be on summer break. The kids are going to be on summer break. You're going to have some time in June with them. So what are you doing with them in June? I mean, just this year, and then, perennially, what do you guys like to do with them in June? And how advantageous is it to have that time when they're not in school? Some of them might be working, but some of them are just, working on their game over the summer. What's that time like?
Typically, we're doing the same type of stuff. We're in the gym usually at 7 a.m. 3 or 4 times a week between weight training and once again 4-man workouts and our open gym stuff. Now, once June hits, it's a little bit different because now we got a couple team camps that we go to. We'll have a couple different scrimmages with different local high schools. This year, I think we're going to UD's team camp for a day, Miami's team camp. There's a shootout up at Denison in late June, which is really, really good. So, between the team camps and scrimmages, we get an opportunity to use our 10 coaching days. So, it's something that, we continue to stay in the gym. And then once July hits, a lot of our kids are playing AAU. But we're still in the gym 3 times a week. So what we'll do once July hits, we'll go Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, getting in the gym. Once again, 4-man workouts, open gyms, weights. And then in August, that's a no contact period for our guys in terms of being on the court, but now we're allowed to lift with them. So guys who are varsity candidates, we'll send them to CrossFit 3 times a week. And the guys who are our younger guys, they'll be in the weight room 3 times a week with our Beacon girl. So, there's really not much downtime, for our program. In August, we can't be on the court by rule. Once you lose in the tournament, you have a 28, 29-day period where you can't be on the court. But besides that, Corey, it's probably anywhere from 3 to 6 times a week we're in the gym.
And with the team camps in the summer, everybody's got different strategies. There's guys who maybe you return your whole team and you want to just play in those team camps just for more coaching days, more experience, try and win, try and play high-level guys. And then, there's guys like I think you might be in this spot this year where you graduated a whole lot of talent, a whole lot of scoring, and you're going to be, helping some new guys find their roles, helping some new guys get some experience. So when you've got those new guys, everybody, of course, wants to win and you go to those team camps to win. But what's your kind of overall strategy in those camps?
Yeah, it gives us an opportunity to see some different guys in situations where they're either stepping up to have to be the man or they have to step into a new role. And obviously I want to win, Corey. I'm as competitive as anybody there is, and the guys we have in our program typically are really competitive as well. But at the same time, winning and losing is not, you don't win championships in June. But at the same time, there's a mentality there too, where we don't want our kids being okay with losing. So, we're gonna play to win, but at the same time, it's not the number one most important thing. We want to teach our kids how to compete, and we're gonna we're gonna play people that are good. And once again, if we get beat, as long as we're competing and learning along the way. And that's the number one most important goal. And it gives us a chance to evaluate some kids that may be in new roles and new situations, and gives us an opportunity to see how maybe they're going to handle those.
And you've got an interesting dynamic this summer in particular because you've got a kid, 6'7" post kid, Alex Mangold. Unfortunately, early in his junior year this year, he goes down and he's going to be out for still some time. I assume he won't be playing with you guys in June. So you've got a guy who, logic would say is going to be, if not your best player, one of your best players next year, and you're going to be without him in June. So you got some young guys that are, going to get an opportunity to, show you what they can do and gain some experience heading into the winter.
Yeah, and obviously what happened with Big Al was tragic, and that night we were playing against Oak Hills, and it was a pretty emotional experience for our guys, for our coaching staff, and there's a lot of things that can prepare you for certain experiences. There's nothing that I've ever been coached on, in terms of when a kid goes down with an injury like that. I didn't know how our kids are going to respond. And, Will Johnston came out and had his best game of the season that night, and guys kind of rallied around that and, won a big game against Oak Hills. But Alex is working his tail off to get back. He's ahead of schedule, and we're hoping to have him back right around end of August, September. And he's not a guy who's just sitting around and feeling sorry for himself. He's gotten in the weight room, and he's got to the point now where he can shoot and things of that nature. So not playing yet, but he's still working on his skill development. And I think we weighed him in about a week ago. He's up to about 220. He looks great. He's obviously the weight room has become really important to him, and he knows to play at the next level and be successful. What he needs to do. So proud of his rehab and what he's doing to get back.
Well, everybody in the community is certainly going to be, rooting for him to rally next year. And I'm confident he's going to have a very big senior year. But you mentioned something there, which is next level. And one thing I think that is sneaky about Lakota East is that, you put up, or maybe one of your other coaches put up a graphic this winter about all the guys you guys have playing college basketball. And I think in Cincinnati, people think about a Withrow, a Moeller, Princeton, maybe, that have had guys go to, super high major Division I levels. But in terms of number of guys playing college basketball right now, Lakota East is right up there with anybody, including Moeller.
Yeah, and that's our program's not for everybody, Corey. The time commitment, the dedication that goes into being a part of our program it's not easy. But our guys also know that if you invest 4 years in our program, you have an opportunity to go and play at the next level. And whether that's Division III, Division II, Division I, NAIA, there's a lot of factors that go into that, whether it's athleticism and size and things of that nature. But been very fortunate to coach guys who are driven to become college basketball players, and we've been able to send a number of guys to play at the next level, which is awesome.
Well, with Division III, we've talked a lot on this podcast about it's a twofold thing. Number one, you've got to be a good enough player, and you've got to have the academic standing to go to that level, and that's an accomplishment. But the other thing with Division III is, as great as it is of basketball and the opportunity to play, you've got to really, really love it, because it's not as glamorous as Division I, and it almost never is going to come with the financial aid package of a Division I. So Division III coaches are looking for kids that, really, really love to play, love to compete, want the whole student athlete role. And when you look at where those kids come from, it tends to be a shrunken amount of high school programs. And you guys have had a lot of Division III. So what do you think it is about your kids who are really good role players at Lakota East that decide, I don't want to just be a regular student at the next level. I might not get a lot of tuition aid, but I still want to continue to play basketball?
I think it goes back to the time commitment and the love for the game. Kids that, when their senior year's over, they don't want it to end. You've been a part of something special. You've been a part of a brotherhood that not a lot of people get a chance to be a part of. And I think for a lot of our guys, they just don't want that feeling to end. They feel like and I've talked to our guys who don't go on to play college basketball, and that's the thing that they miss. They miss that camaraderie and being a part of something. So, I think that's a big part of it. Guys that just, have invested so much time into it. It's something that they're very passionate about. And, because of that, they're fortunate enough to go on to even, whether it's Division III or Division II, Division I, doesn't matter. And, I was a Division III kid. I played at Mount St. Joe's, and, I'm still paying off my student loans, but I would, the best people I met, some of my best friends still to this day, were made playing college basketball. So I think that's a big part of why we've had guys who, even though they're not full ride scholarship guys, they go on to still play.
With Division II, Division III, NAI, pretty much, Division I, these guys are going to have big recruiting budgets. They can go wherever. They can look for kids. They're going to find out about kids. With Division II and Division III, it's certainly a relationship game, and it gets very geographical. And when I talk to young coaches, some AAU, but mainly young high school coaches or high school coaches in areas where there's not a lot of exposure, maybe up where you're from, not Wilmington, but, over a couple areas where there's not a lot of future college players. Those coaches ask me, how can they build those relationships? How can they give their guys a chance to play college basketball somewhere, regardless of level? So, having experienced that now, over the last almost 15 years at East as a head coach and an assistant, what are you guys doing to, the kids are obviously good enough players, but what are you guys doing to afford these kids these opportunities to get looks from, Division II, Division III, NAIA type of programs?
Typically what we'll do is we'll create a profile sheet for each kid. It's kind of your just basic contact information, and have kids fill that out and have their AAU schedule attached to that information sheet. So we have that. We have, obviously, their transcripts that we'll send out. Typically what I'll do for a kid who wants to play at the next level, I'll write up a blurb, a paragraph of information about those kids, and, talk to, in the email form, it'll just talk about the strengths and weaknesses of the kid and where we see him being able to play at the next level. And, part of that email that I'll send out to a lot of different coaches also talks about the number of guys we've already sent to college. And, I think our program is respected at the next level, and we've had, guys go on to Division II schools, a couple Division I schools, and the kids, D3 schools, and those kids that have went there have performed pretty well. So I think when you're able to send kids to college and they perform well, I think coaches respect that, we do things the right way, and we do things in a way that gets them prepared for the next level. And, in terms of work ethic and how much time they're going to have to commit, a lot of our kids they'll even come back and say, you know what, coach, we actually put more time in high school than we did in college. So I think the word gets out, and when you have kids who are successful, coaches keep coming back to you and saying, hey, we'd love to recruit your kids, So basically between profile sheets and transcripts and AAU schedules and, me creating a profile for the kids, I send out email blasts to coaches all over the region. And typically, we're not sending it out to Duke in North Carolina. We're sending it out to where we think our kids realistically can play. And that's a conversation I typically have with kids too, and say, hey, obviously the goal is to be a full ride guy, to go D2, to go D1, but at the same time, we want our kids to be realistic as well. And, when you're 5'10" and, you're an average athlete, you're probably not a Division II or Division I recruit. So, we talk to our kids about, being realistic as well. But, between the emails that I send out in our calendar asking coaches to come in and watch our kids work out, and make phone calls to people. There's a lot of work that goes into it, Corey, not going to lie, but it definitely pays off for our kids in the long run. And we've had, 8, 9, 10 guys who are playing college basketball for free and will come out debt free.
And the last step to it, that's a long first step, but that first step is, really getting them to see your kids. And the last step is kind of closing the deal. And, the kid has to find the right fit. But in terms of getting offered the spot to play by the college coach, they're going to end up coming to Lakota East High School early enough in the process. It'll probably be in the fall. Later in the process, it might not be until, you guys are already playing games and you can only do so much there. But if they're coming in the fall or the spring and they're watching your guys just go through workouts, what are you trying to do for that kid in terms of just the way you do the workout to show that college coach, what that kid can do and who that kid is?
Well, we try to, and once again, in no way, shape, or form do we want to try to disguise anything from coaches. We want our coaches coaches that come in, we want them to see what our kid really is. So if we're going through a 4-man workout, we're going to put them through a 4-man workout that we would normally do, whether the coach is there or not. Working on the things that we feel like our kid needs to work on in order to get better. So, if it's that, or if they're playing, we want them to be able to see, hey, is this kid really a fit for what we're trying to do? And it's really important that, those coaches get eyes on those kids, and whether it's coming to a workout in the spring or seeing them in July or, seeing them in the fall, that's obviously really, really important. And, we reach out to coaches, especially the Division II coaches. They have, their rules are not as strict as Division I, so they can kind of get out and see our kids more in June and have more access to those kids. And we've obviously had a number of Division II type kids. So, we just, our goal is to get those coaches to come see them. And we feel like when the coaches come see them, if we really think this kid can play at that level, we feel like we're going to, the coach is going to leave impressed in what we're trying to do.
Absolutely. Well, that makes sense. And, that's a big reason why you guys have been successful. So that's definitely a great, listen for young coaches or guys who are, maybe having their first future college athlete on their roster and trying to figure out how to, maximize his exposure in the right type of exposure setting. And Coach, I definitely appreciate you coming on and sharing that with us.
Absolutely. Anytime you need a guest, I'm here for you, big man.
The next time I'm going to have you on, we're going to talk about the Clint Adkins Dress to Impress model, and you got some sharp suits, man.
Well, they're okay. They're okay. Learn, with Wally Vickers, we always had to wear a jacket or a suit, and it just became something that was part of the Lakota East culture and something I really didn't want to change. And not that wearing a polo and pants is wrong, but I think it kind of sets the tempo when you're wearing a suit and you're wearing a shirt and tie. I think it really tells the kids how important of an event you're going to. And most people, where do they wear a shirt and tie? Well, to a formal event. That's really, really important. So that's just a little thing that we try to give off to our kids by dressing up.
Well, there you go. We'll do a full episode on it someday. So, Coach, thank you again. Appreciate it. Hopefully, we can have you back on. And everybody, that was the Triple Double Podcast. That was Coach Clint Adkins of Lakota East High School. For Jason Morrow, I'm Corey Albertson. Thanks for listening. This podcast is brought to you by PlayEasy.com. For players, coaches, or casual athletes looking to book a sports facility, as well as owners and managers of sports facilities, PlayEasy.com is the new one-stop site for streamlined services. If you're looking for a place to practice, play, host your tournament, camp, or other, simply go to PlayEasy.com and create a booking request for your area. Your request will go out to surrounding facilities who will respond with their best offer. Once you receive the offer that best fits your needs, book the facility and you're ready to play. For facility owners and managers, PlayEasy puts the power in your hands to maximize the usage and visibility of your facility. Register your facility for free today at PlayEasy.com. PlayEasy.com is the booking site built by athletes, coaches, and facility managers, and is proud to help bring you the Triple Double Podcast. This podcast is also brought to you by Anago Cleaning Systems. Are you tired of struggling in a dead-end job? If so, Anago Cleaning Systems has what you're looking for, an opportunity to go into business for yourself, but not by yourself. With franchising opportunities available for as little as a $2,500 down payment, purchasing an Anago franchise has never been easier. Once you own your Anago franchise, you're licensed to clean commercial facilities all around the greater Cincinnati, Dayton, or Columbus areas with the support of Anago's sales, quality control, operational, and accounting staff. Call 513-332-0033 today for your opportunity to be your own boss and grow your own commercial cleaning company under the guidance of Anago's proven and successful system. Again, call 513-332-0033 to learn more. With Anago, your future starts today.